All right, welcome back, everybody. The reason that I'm back here again is that the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting is coming up in November, just a couple of weeks away. I think 2 weeks from tomorrow, actually. November 1st through 3rd in Austin, Texas. And today I wanted to continue this series to give you a chance to not only meet some of our our speakers. I've been interviewing a lot of the speakers throughout this process, but also some of the partners that are helping to make this event reality. As I'm sure you can imagine, nothing like this happens without help from a lot of people getting involved here. So if you haven't heard about it before, what I'm talking about is the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting, and it is the business conference for entrepreneur architects. In fact, it's the first ever live conference dedicated just to you, to small firm entrepreneur architects. I started this live stream series related to the conference back in August, I guess it was. So, I used to say about a month ago, but it's about 2 months ago now. And I did it to introduce you to the speakers, preview their talks. And now, as I said, I'm bringing our partners into the mix. So this is a lot of fun. Good morning. If we've never met before, my name is Jeff.
Can't hear you, Jeff.
Okay, how's that?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. All right, welcome back, everybody. We have been experiencing, as you can see, we've been experiencing technical difficulties all morning. So we're going to keep giving it a go. And if my audio goes away, just wave, and I'll try that fix again, and we'll see where it goes. So thanks for hanging in there. As I said, I'm joined today by Jing Johnson. She's a friend. She's also the founder and CEO of Prism Renderings. She's based in Houston, Texas, and she is one of the partners for the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting that's coming up 2 weeks from tomorrow. Starts 2 weeks from tomorrow. So, Jing, first, thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for bearing with me through this process. Also, thank you for partnering with EntreArchitect on this upcoming conference. And thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you. It's my honor. Thank you so much for having me, Jeff.
Well, it's great to have you here. Those that are part of the Context and Clarity and the EntreArchitect community, they know Jing Johnson. They know who you are because you're also part of those communities. So you're no stranger
Yeah.
to most of the people that may be joining us. I see Jessica's giving us a thumbs up. She's back. Thanks, Jessica. And Scott's over there on Twitch. Great to have both of you. So, like I said, many people that are watching this either live or on the replay version later are probably familiar with you. Maybe you, the person, more than Prism Renderings. I don't know. So why don't we talk about, first of all, just who you are, what you do, why you do it, and then we'll roll into digging deeper into the things that you're working on.
Of course. So my name is Jing Johnson. I feel like my life is just tied into architecture from very beginning. So both my parents were structural engineers. I grew up in China. And so I basically grew up in their big firm. We Everybody live in the same apartment complex. So I watch them at work, at home. It's just everything is involved, the architecture, industry. And so naturally, when my brother and I graduated from high school, we need to pick a major. Of course, we both pick architecture. And that's I got my bachelor, master degrees in China in architecture, worked there for a couple of years. And then I look around, I'm thinking, I saw my parents' life, everybody else, all the architects, their career path. I feel like, I need to make some changes. I want to see if I can have some adventure, by going to the States, United States. It was always my dream to to see the modern architecture, but also learning English. I was really I was really good in terms of testing. I was always number one in the class from elementary school all the way to the college. But in terms of using the language, I had no experience. So that's my dream. Just come over here in '93, so almost 30 years. Come here, get my another master's degrees, and start working for a few firms from small, medium size, all the way to global mega, firm. And then 2005, I have two little ones, and I was juggling between my busy architecture firm career and the motherhood. So I just started my rendering company at the time, went back to school, got my MBA because I had no training or knowledge about business. So I did that. So now we have a team of 7 working moms, and we basically have over 200 projects a year, all pretty much commercial on the commercial sector. And that's who I am. Oh, I'm part of the community, so I've been following Mark's podcast for a few years now. I just everything he said on that podcast, it just really resonated with me in terms of the business, acumen. It just I feel like he's one of the like-minded people. So I when the membership opened up to industry partners, I jumped right in. So I was in the first, I'm still in the first Architects and Allies mastermind group.
Mm-hmm.
And then a year ago, when Mark started the legacy firm mastermind group, I joined that one too. So I'm part of those two mastermind group.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So, and if you're not familiar with what Jing's talking about, Mark R. LePage is the founder of EntreArchitect. He launched the podcast about 10 years ago, I guess it was now, if I have the dates right. And there are, I guess, EntreArchitect dates back to when it was, I shouldn't say just, but quote unquote, just a blog. And then it's grown to a blog and a podcast and a membership. And of course, there's a Facebook, 2 Facebook groups, the EntreArchitect Community Facebook group and the Architects and Allies group that Jing is talking about as well. So it is a vibrant community. And like I say in the opening every time, we're the largest worldwide community of entrepreneur architects. So it's great to have you. You're so embedded in the community.
Yes.
Like you said, through Architects and Allies, both the masterminds that you participate in, which is fantastic. And now coming to just 2 weeks from now, coming to Austin, Texas, which is sort of in your backyard, I guess.
Yes, yes. 2 hours drive.
There you go. So it's exciting. I think there's a couple of things. Number one, it's exciting to have you on board because as a partner in this, but also as a member in all of this. And I think even more so, if we take Prism renderings as in the product of what you do out of the conversation for a minute, I think what's really fantastic about this partnership is the way that you have started and grown your very purposeful and very purpose driven business. As you said, there's 7 working moms,
Yes.
and it goes all the way back to your origin story that you were just talking about, where motherhood and architecture. We see this all the time. It's hard to make those things work together. It's hard for that balance, and so I love, as you know, I love what you do and how you've done it. Can you tell us more about why I mean, you gave us a little bit of the backstory, but why you started Prism and where you're going with Prism and
Yeah.
in this, am I right in calling it a purpose-driven organization?
Definitely, you're absolutely right. So in terms of the where we are as an organization, as I said, I started a business to have the flexibility to juggling between career and working mom, life. And so now my boys are grown. The younger one just graduated from college earlier this year. So I'm
Congratulations.
empty, empty nester now. And my mission, my passion is to helping more younger moms in our industry, because it is a very difficult career to juggle with home life. So my vision for this company is going to have we are going to have 15 to 20, at least 15 to 20 working moms in our organization. I started a business. Just answer your question. Go back. Just because at the time, 2005, the owner of the architecture firm I work with, saw something in me, I guess. I was working mostly in the construction documents, the back end of the business.
Mhm.
But you know me now, we met. I'm a people person. I
Yep.
just love people. I love interact with people. I love learn how their projects, their businesses. So one of the potential client from China want to build a private children hospital, and they were introduced to our firm. And my the owner of the firm, just I was not the only person speak Chinese in the firm, but somehow he just think I can do it. So he sent me to talk to this prospect, and it just resolved in like one of the 8 projects from that beginning. So I just feel alive, when I start talking to you that on the BD role. And also in the meantime, we always struggle to find a reliable and also high quality rendering company in the local community. And I was sent to China to coordinate managing some projects, and I saw some really good quality resource over there. So I realized if I can bring design expertise in the healthcare industry to China, China also have something to offer.
Sure.
So I think my strength is resourceful. I just saw, put those two together and start a business. Our clients just love that they can send us information, and the next day they can get some updates because our team work when we're sleeping.
Sure.
And so that's how we started. As we grow, I start hiring the team members. So the 2 team members I hired more than 8 years ago are still with us, and they are our next generation of management and leadership team.
Yep. I love it. I love the way, you've, it's, there's some serendipity there, right? And there's some organic growth and evolution there. But and full disclosure, Jing and I have talked a bit over the last couple of years, so I know some of the background here. Your growth and your way forward is very intentional, obviously, and I think you can hear, those of you in the audience can hear that coming out here. Um, if we kind of look in the other direction now at what you're doing for your clients,
Mm-hmm.
what you mentioned earlier that a lot of your clients or a lot of your work are commercial projects.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who's coming to you? When are they coming to you? Maybe when during the process are they coming to you, and what are they trying to accomplish?
A great question. So we work with half of our clients are developers and brokers. The other half are architects.
Okay.
So it's very interesting, healthy balance of two because they refer each to each other, to our point to our direction. So at the beginning of first few years at our business, we basically take architects' design, either CAD drawings or Revit model or SketchUp model, and we create this polished professional level of renderings and animations. We do animations as well. But things changed several years ago. Our developer clients come to us with we call early stage or feasibility renderings. So basically, the project is not even a real project. So they have a site. They need something really compelling visual to either go to raise capital, at least get some commitment from investors, or the city needs to look at what kind of development is going to be, and so or even trying to find anchored tenants for their retail properties, and so it's just too early to even engage an architect, but they need those renderings. So it's kind of there's where you go, right? Because architects, they need the time. They need time to do the design package and then hand us to do the renderings, and they don't have that time. So what happened is that our project managers all have architecture background. So we basically come up with very conceptual. It's only for rendering purpose. So there's no technical, research involved. It's really just talk to the client, understand their general programming, what kind of building and just general description of the projects. We come up with and their preference in terms of architecture style. And so what we create is really just for them to show from, take the vision from their heads into a tangible format to show their stakeholders. So that's we started at the beginning. We were like, can we do this? So we don't know if our team can do this or not. But we've done so many projects like that for the past 5 years, and so we're getting more confidence. And this is a niche now. Even architects come to us. I remember your podcast. I love your podcast, the Context and Clarity. You talk about dilemma sometimes architects face.
Right.
That the developer come to you, they want you to offer a free service to come up with a design or even some images, not the high-end renderings, but some kind of 3D images. Architects, they don't want to do it for free, but they feel like if they don't do it, they lose the opportunity to to get the project later on. So that's what we are doing with our architects client, is that we actually, when they get those kind of requests, they said, well, go to Jing and Prism. They can help you to do those early stage images. So once you get the funding, you get some kind of approval, the feasibility study shows that it's a viable project, then we can take it over to do the real design and the permitting, set. So it works really good because they can keep the relationship. They don't have to lose the relationship. We can help them to just fill that gap, I guess. I don't know what the best way to describe it. So for me, that's the direction I want to take the company to. Is I want Prism to be the market leader for this type of projects, because 99% of the rendering companies won't be able to take on those projects. If you don't have design package, they're not going to take the projects.
Right.
And architects, it's just take too much resource on them, on their, they have real projects, they have, the profitable projects and for their team. So it's a really great way to help each other with architects. So we just want to really, we still do typical rendering projects, but this is more on the direction we want to go, because we can be you have very few competition on that.
Yeah, and it's, we've talked about this before, and like you said, we've talked about this in context and clarity before as well. There's so much when an architect is approached by a developer with a viable project, if we can say it that way. So many decisions have already been made. So many things so many things that will affect the architect's work and the architect's future have already happened at that point. So I love this idea that you can help facilitate and I was trying to think, as you said, the fill the gap, if there's a better way to say it. I think that's a great way to say it, right? You can fill that gap, because that is problematic, right? Working for free is problematic. However, not being involved early in those projects, in my opinion, is also problematic, because there's a lot that happens. There's a lot that's invested, and a lot of architects are missing out on that. So I love the fact that you're there to to fill that gap.
Yes, it's a great niche. We, for our project managers, we also feel more involved, in that creative process. So instead of just being a translator, right, to do the typical renderings, but this one has just much more. You got a deep conversation with the developer clients, and to be able to understand them, and also just communicate that clearly with our production team, and give them clear instruction to make this happen. It's just very fulfilling, those type of projects. And I think the most important thing is the time, the time saved for developer clients and for architects. And at the end, everybody wins if this projects get move on fast. I heard so many times from my architects clients that we are just we have a few projects in the pipeline, but we are just waiting for the client to get the funding. There's so many times you heard that. So if we can help to just make the whole process, just shorten the whole cycle, because I myself is also an investor, commercial real estate investor. So I'm looking at both end, right? How, for the developer clients, the most struggle for them is get the funding, get that initial funding. So if we can help them to get that, the ball rolling, and it will benefit everybody, all the stakeholders, including architects, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned translation, and I think that's also a good word to use in this conversation, because you are translating your storytellers and we think about all the stakeholders, from the time that there's an empty lot and somebody has a vision or a dream or whatever, to substantial completion and people are moving in. There are an awful lot of people that have to understand what the intent is and what the dream is, what the vision is, and I love that you and the rest of the team at Prism are there to be those storytellers in the early phases, especially
Mm-hmm.
because that's as you were talking about that, the developers trying to figure out their capital stack. The architect is chomping at the bit, probably wanting to get this project started because they need to keep their workflow going and keep their cash
Mm-hmm.
flow going. And if you're there sort of greasing the process by translating and
Mm-hmm.
telling the story of the vision in the front end, that seems pretty valuable to both of those parties, to the developer party and the architect party.
Yes. We
Yeah,
just love those type of projects. It's very
yeah,
fulfilling.
it, that's great. I think that is a great niche.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this: as we start to wrap this up, and we're getting, one of the great things I think about this conference is coming up in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, will the evening of 2 weeks from tomorrow, we will be opening the conference November 1st through 3rd in Austin, Texas. I think one of the great things about the conference is we'll have that couple of days there, 2.5 days, something like that, where it's going to be an immersive experience. And I've mentioned this over and over and over that when there's a speaker, since this is a single track conference, you don't have to make a choice.
I love
Last,
that. When I
yeah,
saw that, I was so excited. I don't have to make
absolutely, yeah,
choices.
yeah. I
Yes.
mean, not to take away from
Mm-hmm.
let's just say AIA National, but at an event like the National Conference on Architecture, there are hundreds of sessions and speakers, and you always have to make a choice. Do I want to listen to this or do I want to listen to that,
Mm-hmm.
et cetera? This conference is designed so that you don't have to make that choice. I interviewed Randy Wilburn on Friday. He's one of our speakers. When Randy's time slot comes up, you don't have to say, "Oh, do I want to go and listen to Randy talk about talk about professional and personal growth and taking care of myself as I take care of my business, or do I want to go hear somebody else?" No, we all immerse ourselves in the activity and the lesson and the presentation that Randy's giving. And then, as he described it on Friday, you'll have plenty of hang time with him because he'll be there the whole time. The same is true with many of our partners, like Jing. You're going to have time to meet and talk to and have meals with, sit down and break bread with our partners, our speakers, etc. So I love the fact that this is going to be so incredibly immersive. One of the things that I think everybody needs to do, again, this is opinionated Jeff speaking. Um, I want everybody to be intentional about showing up at this conference. I want them to be intentional about the way that they prepare for this conference. So, as you think about it, Jing, from your experience, and it could be, based on what you and your team at Prism does, it could be about the way that you've built the business. It doesn't matter to me the direction you
Mm-hmm.
want to take this. But what's the best piece of advice that you have for entrepreneur architects that are wanting to not only build a better business, because that is essentially what this is all about, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that a really the common thread amongst almost all of us is that we're trying to build businesses so that we can do business, so that we can practice in our own way, which I think is absolutely what you've done. So
Mm-hmm.
what's your best piece of advice for entrepreneur architects that want to practice in their own way?
Wow, that's a big question. I'm not prepared for that.
No small
Um,
questions.
I know it's well. I just because I see that wealth. I just first of all, the all the speakers you invite to have a live stream. That's just like such a brilliant idea. I've been shared with my mastermind groups too. Just I just feel there's such a wealth of experts and expertise in that room. I can't wait my personal, because I just love businesses, right? You know me, so I can't wait to listen to those speakers, and I know some of them. And for me, it's just have an open mind to come
That's
in there.
fantastic.
Our architects, we are not known for business savvy in terms of practices, and we're good at what we're doing design wise, and just architects are very smart people, group of people, and just to keep that open mind that there's so many resources and expertise out there to can make your business and also your design trajectory much better. I really don't don't have other
But I think that's excellent advice, because there will be speakers that will challenge you, and I don't mean will challenge Jing. It's the royal you. There are going to be people that are going to talk about things that you haven't thought of before, that you've heard before but haven't implemented, that you may not be quite so sure about what they're saying. So I think having an open mind is fantastic advice. Randy Wilburn, as I interviewed him, going back to that conversation on Friday, he talked about the fact that a lot of what he's going to say is not anything that you haven't heard before, but he's coming to put it in front of you, to tie it all together and give you a little kick in the pants to get you moving and acting on some of these personal development topics that he'll talk about. So I think that's fantastic advice, Gene. Have an open mind
yeah.
and come ready to do. I
Mhm.
think is another way that we could prepare as well. I'm looking at the comments section over here, and it looks like Janine's having breakfast with us. Hi, Janine in
Yes. Hi,
Arizona.
Jean.
I hope you brought enough to share. I'm getting a little hungry at this point. Janine's over there on Facebook. Jessica's on Facebook. John Jones, who you know very well, is
Yeah, you might
also on
must
Facebook.
mind. One of the nicest guy I know.
Absolutely. Absolutely is, and I don't know if Scott is still out there on Twitch. Scott is very close to me right now. He's visiting his son
Oh,
this weekend. He and his wife are visiting his son, so I'll probably see Scott tomorrow
yeah.
morning. But it's great to have all of you join us for this conversation. Just to give you a heads up, I've got back-to-back interviews today, so in 20 minutes or so, I'm going to interview another one of our partners, another member of the EntreArchitect community, Nick Cornea. Will be joining me about 12:15 Eastern, so 20 minutes or so from now. But there you have it. Jing Johnson, founder and CEO of Prism Renderings and a partner for the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting in Austin, Texas, November 1st through 3rd. She's part of this community. She's a supporter of this community. There's no way to extract Jean from everything that is
Oh, I
the
want to
community.
mention, Jeff. I recommend Entre Architects to many of my clients, and some of them joined, including my husband. So he's also part of the community. He's also in the commercial architects mastermind group. So he will be there too. So I
Excellent.
look forward to see everybody in Austin.
Very good. Yeah, I was going to ask if he was going to be there. I'm glad that he'll
Yeah.
be there. It'll be good to see him again. Very good. Well, if you are an architect that wants to learn to build a business that allows you to practice in your own way, or maybe you're the employee of a firm and you want to take some of these lessons back, or maybe you even aspire to practice in your way and do your own thing, go over to smallfirmconference.com. Let me put that up on the screen. Smallfirmconference.com in the lower left of your screen right now is the landing page for the conference. You can learn about all of the speakers, the venue, the schedule, everything, and you can register to join us. Again, it's just 2 weeks away, so go ahead and get signed up so that we can see you in Austin, Texas in just 2 weeks. Again, it's the first ever live conference that's dedicated just to you. just two small firm entrepreneur architects. So check it out. I promise that you will not be disappointed. This is a really well designed and thoughtful um, structure for this conference. So it's going to be a good one. So Jing, again, thanks. Great to see you as always. Thanks for hanging in there through all of the technical glitches. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for helping to make the EntreArchitect Community Annual Meeting a reality. That's a really important thing, and we really appreciate you for that.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Great to be part of the community, for sure.
Great to have you a part of the community. All right, everybody. Again, I'm going to be back in about 15 minutes with Nick Cornea. So join me then. Janine, I don't know. That's like brunch time at that point.
She could be eating all day. You have an afternoon session too, right?
Well, keep me fed. How's that?
All right. Bye,
Very
Jeff.
good. All right.
I'll
Thanks
see you in
again.
Austin.
Thanks, everybody.